Because land is something that today is undervalued. If you compare Alibaug prices to prices in Vasai or you compare it to anywhere in it's nowhere comparable.
Mumbai buyer who was all into apartments suddenly उसको ज़मीन का शौक कैसे लग गया?
In COVID, when people were stuck in their homes, everyone had that one friend. Alibaug पहुंच गया, घर था या गोवा पहुंच गया, एकदम मौज मजा कर रहे हैं. Outdoor swimming pool का picture भेज रहा. I can be living in my very fancy 3,000-4,000 square foot apartment. When you're in it for 6 months, suddenly that 3,000-4,000 also feels like you're in purgatory over there. Yeah. कभी निकलेंगे बस, you know. So 5-8 years ago, if you had to go there, your whole house, everyone had to go there, cook, work, everything, you know, because there was nothing available over there. स्पीड बोट लेना है तो यार 10,000 12,000 का है. कौन लेने वाला है? पागल हो गया क्या लंच के लिए फॉर एग्जांपल?
Today on the Indian Infra Show, I have with me Mr. Nandan Piramal from the Peninsula Group. We will talk with him how Mumbai has evolved, especially the Lower Parel region, to become a new downtown for the city. We will also talk about how a Mumbai buyer who used to only purchase apartments a few years back is now shifting the focus towards purchasing land. How Mumbai 3.0 is going to be developed, what role does the infrastructure play in it, and how is the buyer and the developer mindset changing in this entire industry. So let's get into it and have some conversations with Mr. Nandan Piramal. So Mr. Piramal,
Hi.
Welcome to the Indian Infra Show. And my first question would be regarding this place we are at. Parel has transformed immensely in the last decade or so, and your company has created landmarks that actually I would say started this change. Can you share with us like some story or like how it went, how this market transformed?
Yeah, sure. So thanks Akash, thanks for having me here and really excited. Parel has been a long story. So you said last decade, I would like, it says the last 2 decades that really the transformation has happened. So Parel, growing up in Bombay, was always the mill area. Parel was always considered the area where is not residential to that extent. You know, those mills, offices, things like that. In the early 2000s, when we moved our factory from here, where we're sitting actually today, to Nagpur, we had an opportunity what to do. We had all this land available. So at that time, I was not fully involved. I was still young at that time, still making my way through college. But the discussion was always that, you know, there's a great opportunity. This is one of the few areas in Bombay or Mumbai where there are land parcels available, which are large land parcels available. So even at that time, so this was an area which made sense to develop and very close to, like you said, maybe old South Bombay or legacy South Bombay, because now I think even the definition of South Bombay has changed drastically from 20 years ago to today, you know, and I think that cities as they develop worldwide, not just Mumbai, but anywhere in the world, if you see cities as they develop where the space is available to them. So some develop sideways, some develop, you know, vertically. Mumbai has grown vertically. We've seen how much it's grown vertically, but also horizontally. I think where areas which were early commercial areas or dock areas or port areas are now already transforming, and in the next 5 to 10 years will transform even further into being fully residential areas. So I think, you know, yes, we were one of the first few who came in to this area. It now seems obvious that it was an obvious thing to do, and yes, it was. But at that time, I think we were a few years of struggle to kind of convince people. But I think with Ashok Towers, with the amenities, the open space, with the area that you get there, as people started experiencing that and seeing that, that little bit of taboo of, I'm in Lower Parel or I'm in here, they moved out, and it's been like, wow, okay, look at where I am. And so I think that was something that was always, it was a little bit of a challenge to do, but also something that as people saw, you know, you coming out of a one building kind of complex, no open area, just park, you know, car parking, maybe coming into an area where we had a football field, for example. I think that change in you know, the standard of living to a large extent. So maybe it takes you 10 minutes more to get here from your office, or it takes you 15 minutes more to get to school or college. But once you are in that, once you are here, I think the quality of life that you experience is much higher than maybe you would in a single building with no amenities in it, right? So I think that change, and now I think all over Bombay you see that the amenities became such a big selling point
Yes.
for all new buildings. And I think one of the reasons was that these early buildings had so much, it was so different from what you'd seen earlier that it kind of woke up the market to that fact. And so then the location became less important, and more important became, okay, what is my apartment, what is the amenities, what is my open area, what is the number of people living over there, so the density. So all these other factors also started becoming important, not just purely on location or name value, name brand of a certain location.
Okay. You said that like this is a tangential question to
Sure.
this, but when it comes to taking risks in a particular location
Yes.
and then like visualizing it
Yes.
maybe in future, does having some legacy land help a developer?
Of course, of course. When you have legacy land, it almost in a way it's your equity, right? You're sitting on the equity, so you can be a little more you can be a little more aggressive, and you can take certain calls because of that. But I think more important than that, I think if you just took a view of Bombay or Mumbai over 15, 20 years ago, and you said, okay, what are my areas of growth? So I want to be in real estate. Real estate at that time wasn't a very organized sector. Now it's become much more corporatized, obviously. But at that time, so what as a new developer or a new company wants to get into, what are the areas of growth in Mumbai? We definitely felt that the eastern side of Mumbai is an area which will grow. So whether it's Wadala, whether it's Sewri, whether it's Baikala, whether it's Parel, Lower Parel, we've done projects in all these locations over the last 10, 15 years. And all these projects have done well for us. I think that's an area going forward, I think will even explode even more right now, because Bombay is so crowded and prices are high everywhere. Whether it's in Worli, whether it's in Malabar Hill, whether it's in Juhu, whether it's in Pali Hill, even Versova. Prices are up to close to 80, 90,000 in some buildings in Versova as well. So there's a lot of price saturation happening now. I think Eastern Seaboard, Sewri, Baikala, Lower Parel, Wadala, these are the areas in the next 5-10 years we'll see, I feel, the biggest growth and momentum going.
So you had said like the industry has evolved.
Yes.
And the customer has evolved themselves with it, or the customer is still stuck in the past?
The customer has evolved.
What preferences have seen? Like,
so one of the when we were talking about consumer habits, one of the things that actually, the last 6-8 months, one of the stats that surprised me the most was we were talking to one of these organizations that do sales only. So we were just chatting, what's happening, how's the market, what are you also. They do obviously multiple projects where they're doing the selling for. So one of the stats that they told me, which is really blew my mind, was they said that maybe they're selling 15, 20, 30 different projects, but over these 30 different projects, in different locations, so Mumbai, Bangalore, but tier 2, tier 3 towns as well, 40 to 50% of their buyers interacted with a bot, AI bot in the buying process. So it's that for me was very surprising. Like, so some AI bot in the process. So it's not that you're dealing with the AI bot through the process, but in the buying process you might be having 10 to 15 different touch points a customer will have with the company. So within those 10 to 15 touch points, 1 or 2 or multiple touch points were AI driven. So that shows that consumers' habits are changing, the way they look up. The one thing we say for our plotted developments is first visit will be online, or it's a digital visit. First site visit is an online visit. So I think it's really the consumer is changing a lot. Even from a design perspective. So I think maybe even up to 5-10 years ago when we were designing ourselves or others were designing, there would always be not a battle, I would say, but a good healthy discussion between sales and design, saying sales would say, but I need to show 20 amenities, I need to have these 7, 8 to have to be there, it doesn't matter. And design would be like, but let's focus on usability, you know, do actually people use this? But sales are like, no, but consume it. See, if you have it there, people won't ask. They won't say, wow. But if you don't have it there, they'll be, अरे नहीं है क्या? कैसे है? क्यों नहीं है? So I think that, so it was just a defensive thing. Like, नहीं नहीं वो तो होना ही चाहिए, वो brochure में डालना ही पड़ेगा. So I think those things are now changing. So in our latest design meetings now, the focus on amenities is on usability. It's not on numbers. It's not on कि I have to have a yoga room, I have to have a massage, you know, certain things like that where it just became कि यार norm कि डालना है पड़ेगा. People may never checklist. I think now consumers also, because you've seen this around, right? So it's not that we are in the first or second phase of buildings coming up with a lot of amenities. We're in the third, fourth phase of that. So consumers, either I'm living in a building which has amenities, or I know enough people living in these buildings. So now I think consumers also realize that, boss, my cost of living there, my maintenance charges are all linked to also what is provided. So if I have 50 amenities, of which 40 is no one's ever using, I'm still paying for the upkeep of that, maintenance of that, AC, this, that. So let's focus in on things that actually are usable to us, and let's give value for actual amenities that we will use, rather than just to say कि it sounds cool, you know, कि यार मेरे पास इतना, ये मेरे building में 20 amenity है, 30 amenity. Now I think so the focus, so these are all consumer habits that are changing, and what consumers are giving value to when they are doing a buying decision. I think that as developers, we always try to do that. I always tell the team कि cost is not bad at all. It's a cost ki boss, but the cost should be something where if I put 5 rupees, consumer should at least put a 5 rupee value on that, if not 10 rupee value. It can't be that I spend 5 and consumer say, अच्छा है, but 1 rupee का value मैं देता. Just that is what was happening, you know, that we were spending, but consumer saying good, but what is the value attached to that? So I think where our focus is that all cost is good cost, as long as the consumer is happy to give you that value for the cost. Otherwise, waste ke liye, let's not do it. So I think that's something again is driven by consumer behavior and consumer demands and what they are kind of valuing now. So yes, I think the Mumbai buyer is very at it, on it, knows, clear and educated, I think now, more and more especially.
So you told me like how there was a time when consumers used to think different, checklist leke ghumte the.
Yes.
And they used to say everything in every project, so probably that also fixated in their minds. But do you think like a similar thing happened with developers also, where they went into a phase where maybe designs or maybe thoughtfulness or like having a template they have to like replicate for every project became the norm, and developers somehow moved away from taking risks, doing innovations, or trying to change the consumer mindset for the betterment of them?
Yes.
Like was there a phase, or is there a phase like that where developers are unwilling to take that risk?
I think it's changing now, but I think definitely there was a phase, like I said, it was the checklist phase, I would call it, where so it was a cookie cutter, you know, developers know कि यार boss मेरे को ये 20-30 करना पड़ेगा, उसमें fit करो, my things will, so it became all the building, all the new developments became very similar. Like you said, so it became a cookie cutter, ये box डालो, thap, it became a format. I think over the last few years, as you know, Mumbai real estate market has also turned, right? We were in a bad cycle for 5-6 years. 22, 23, it started turning. In the last couple of years, it's been decent, good for Mumbai. I think at that time, again, the discerning buyer came into more. So I think buyers were giving more value for, so it wasn't just cookie cutter, value was being given for other things, for design, for density. For open spaces. So those are the things that people, and so then different buildings or different developments in the same areas were getting priced differently, right? So that then made all the real estate designers and companies feel, अरे boss यार मेरे को 15% ज़्यादा मिल रहा है और 15% less मिल रहा है, क्यों? what's happened. And then I think so it became ki, yaar, okay, let's focus on usability, let's focus on enhancing our project and our product rather than just trying to copy the guy next door. So I think that we did go through a phase where it's a defensive phase, right? Because also if you have to remember ki, yaar, Mumbai real estate market was very bad, choppy for many years before COVID, and then a little bit after that. It was like, so a lot of companies then at that time your mindset is कि यार डिफेंसिव करो यार, ये वाला ऐसे बिक रहा है तो मेरा भी ऐसे ही बनाओ, मेरा भी बिकेगा. So people were not willing to take a risk or willing to take a chance because you don't have that ability to fail. You know, when you take a risk, you have to be willing कि यार ठीक है, it might not work also, right? That's the whole point of the risk. So I think now it's changing and you're seeing a lot different USPs. I think people are focusing on like what is going to sell my project, right? Because there are 5 projects in a line, all similar, all reputed developers, all doing the same stuff to a large extent. So मेरा कैसे क्यों बिकेगा? So I think people have now gone into more of that usability, more into specifics to my project. What am I bringing? What is my USP? So I think that's something that we are seeing, and it's only for the betterment of the consumer in the end of the day, I think so.
You know, like whenever I'm talking to someone who is not based in Mumbai,
right,
as close as Pune or maybe as far as consider Calcutta,
right.
And whenever the conversation about getting a home, their primary thought is buying a 5 गज 10 गज 15 मतलब वो 100 गज का प्लॉट खरीदना है, फिर वहाँ पे घर बनाना है. This is how the conversation flows. But for a Mumbai buyer for a very long time, this was not the first thought. It always used to be apartments.
Yes.
Why do you think like Mumbai buyer has specifically like for a very long time like stuck to apartment? Is it the geography? Is it some other factors? Why is Mumbai market so different?
I mean, 5-10 गज का किधर मिलेगा मुंबई में, राइट? तो आई थिंक द इशू इज ऑल्सो कि यार मुंबई वो बंगला बनाना, थोड़ा लो राइज बनाना, दैट डे लॉन्ग गॉन. So there's no space, there's no availability. I think one thing which is peculiar to the Mumbai buyer or the Mumbai consumer, which I've not seen anywhere else in India, which is to a point of what you're saying, is that today, whether if I'm in Pune, or if I'm in Calcutta, if I'm in Delhi, and I'm a small business owner, or I'm a corporate earning, over 1 crore, 2 crores a year, and in Bombay today, Mumbai, mein, there's enough land as a asset of investment. In Pune, in Delhi, in Calcutta, people understand कि यार ये 10 गज में एक लैंड खरीदेंगे, प्लॉट खरीदेंगे, देख लेंगे क्या करना है, कुछ बनाते हैं. In Mumbai today, especially from corporate point of view, I feel because of अरे यार लैंड में कैश देना पड़ेगा, कौन देगा, लैंड में you have due diligence, यार कौन कुछ ये होएगा, वो होएगा, for variety of reasons have not been able to access that market. So I think elsewhere in India, people who have a large asset portfolio, you will have stocks, you will have mutual funds, you will have land, you will have maybe crypto now, right? These are the things, 4-5 things that people will have in their. I think in Mumbai, especially in the corporate class, land was never a thing seen as. They'll buy apartments also. So मैं दूसरा apartment ले लूँगा, rent कर दूँगा. But land as an asset class was never seen as a viable option. So I think today that is something which is changing. And because, say with us as Peninsula Estates and other corporates who are doing plotted development now, we're cutting out a lot of those 3-4 things that people earlier. So it's a corporate, so that everything is in check. There's no issue on that. It's a corporate. I'm doing the due diligence on the land. तो आपको वो land का stress is gone.
Okay, fear is moving away. Yeah.
Fear is moving away. I'm giving a 7/12, तो 7/12 तो आपके नाम में आ गया land. It's not कि मेरे को कुछ condo मिला तो कुछ share of property मिला. मेरे 7/12 मेरा है. I can do वो say 90 plot है, 89 plots can do whatever they want. मेरे को एक plot is still in my control. So that having that ownership of the land is something that again is an added factor for people when
Right.
they're buying. Plus आपको अभी दूसरा यार मैं लैंड खरीद दिया, ठीक है, मजा आ गया, बट अभी लैंड के साथ मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता हूँ, तो बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा, तब ना अलीबाग में कौन जाएगा, द प्राइसिंग है, ये है. सो एट पेनिनसुला वी विल ऑल्सो ऑफर ऑफर अ सर्विस वे आपके लिए ऑन अ सर्टेन कॉस्ट, ऑन अ सर्टेन डिजाइन अपने कर देंगे, वील गेट द
Okay.
डिजाइन, वील गेट द permissions and we'll build it for you. So that's an additional service that we are providing. आपको आपका करना है तो आप कर सकते हैं, आपको मेरे को कराना है तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. So so that becomes one other question. So when we are doing this, we are trying to think here, what is the question? पैसा तो है, 15 करोड़ के घर में रह रहा हूँ या 10 करोड़ के घर में रह रहा हूँ, तो 1 करोड़ प्लॉट खरीदने में पैसा तो है. So why are people not buying it? So these are the few things that we saw कि यार one is this also size. कि यार लैंड गाना है तो मेरे को तो अलीबाग में हाफ एन एकड़ तो लेना पड़ेगा, या 10 गुंठा तो 15-20 गुंठा में क्वार्टर एकड़ तो लेना पड़ेगा. देन द टिकट साइज बिकम्स बिग. सो वी आर डूइंग 2000 स्क्वायर फीट, तो आपको 2 करोड़ में मिल जाएगा प्लॉट. देन यू कैन होल्ड इट एज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट. You can develop it yourself, you can give it to us to develop. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, it gives you a lot of, and it gives you an asset today which is tradable.
Yeah.
It's not stock, but it's as close to stock as possible, right? It's the one of the most tradable things. मैं villa खरीदूंगा या apartment खरीदूंगा, then I still need someone कि वो villa वो price में, ये तो plot land है यार, बहुत land, so I think it gives people a lot more flexibility as they grow. And I think that's something that today in the Mumbai corporate consumer, that this has not been something over the last 10 years which has been in a consideration set for investment also. So one is end use. End use case is very clear. But there's also a case for investment, right? And that investment case has been something which has not been fully kind of available, I think, to a lot of people. And I think that's something that we feel with the corporatization of land, with different corporates coming in doing this, it adds one more avenue where today stocks are down, or crypto is so uncertain, or anything else. I want to be a little more aggressive than in mutual fund, and that it gives that investment class also a new thing to add to the portfolio, I feel. So and especially in the West. Because in Bombay, I would say, or Mumbai, but I've seen whether it's in Bangalore or Calcutta or any of the other places that you mentioned, I think land, people are very more familiar with land. It's more
Used to it, yeah.
More used to it. Bombay में apartment मालूम है, land का, especially for corporates, I feel.
Yeah. But like all these big names, including yours, Peninsula, coming into land, clearing it out, cleaning it out, then presenting it, packaging it for the people, that has like taken away the risk boundary that was there, or that mental block people had in Mumbai.
Absolutely.
But do you also think that this entry of all big companies has also led to a lot of other players coming into land? Like basically what I want to ask you is that where should the customer be careful in terms of selecting if they are deciding to invest?
Right. So I think one is you have to understand on I would say 2-3 things where customers should focus on. So one obviously is who's the developer, who's doing it, is it someone that you can trust? I think and we were discussing off camera, but I think with the advent of Maharera, I think that's been the number one aspect to me of corporatizing and professionalizing the real estate sector in the last 8-10 years. I think the amount of compliances you have to do, the amount of planning you have to do, the certificates you have to do, it ensures that there's a very clear you need to have, it can't be a one-person operation doing all this. There has to be a team, there has to be so that has helped to make it a lot more professional. So I think that issue of koi bech dega and they won't deliver and all that, at least to me, I don't see that as an issue. So I think from a customer point of view, whether you buy it with us or you buy it with some other corporate developer or another branded player, I think the fear of whether these guys will take my money and run away, I don't think that So that, I think, one aspect is out. I think and not fear, I think what people should be clear, I think clarity is important, is what's important for me. Do I want to, there are different asset classes coming up. So I can buy a villa, I can buy a plot of land, I can buy a apartment, condo, right? And so which one is the right one for me? I think that decision is each individual person's decision. So I think that is very important. We feel obviously very strongly that buying the land or the plot is the best option, because it gives a lot more flexibility to people. So in these uncertain times, what happens is, say for my plot is 2 crores. I'm just giving very macro number. These are not accurate, but just to make the point. The plot is 2 crores. My villa is 5 crores. Say my apartment is 4 crores. Year one, we put in, I have to put in, say, 30, 50, 40 lakhs in my plot. I put in similar amounts in my other things. What happens in the plot is, firstly, after a year and a half or 2 years, I get the delivery. Then, at that point, I have many options available to me. So I can flip it as land. So I don't need to put any more money. I'll get a buyer at that. And land prices in Alibaug have been going up consistently, I think, for the last 5 to 7, 8 years. Even through the downturn and through COVID and all, Alibaug prices have been held or going up significantly. So I can flip the land at that time. If I've bought a villa in 1.5, 2 years, I'm locked in, boss. I can't halfway through the villa project say, I want to sell it, and ye nahi karna hai. And I'm locked in for that 5 crore cost as well, right? Over a 3-year period. In a plot, it's half the cost, 40% of the cost, plus the cost is, even though you're locked in for 40% of the cost, but the asset that you get at the end of the day is a lot more tradable, the asset. So it's a lot more, so your flexibility goes up. So at that, when I get delivery in a plot, I can sell it if I need to, if I want to. I can build on it, or I can hold it. I can say, abhi tight hai thoda, war chal raha hai, uncertainty hai thoda, 6 mahina kuch karte nahi hai, aur cost nahi dalna hai. In a villa project or in a condo project, was I'm locked in, no? Then that developer's done his slab, then the demand comes, then you are paying. You don't pay, interest charge hoega. So that in times of uncertainty, the amount of flexibility that a plot gives you, a land gives you, compared to a villa or compared to a condo, is much higher. Second, I think, is that today villa में वो जो developer 15, 20, 30, 40 जो भी विला बना रहे हैं, सेम विला बना रहे हैं, कॉपी पेस्ट है, ठप ठप ठप, आपको एक विला चूज करना है, थोड़ा ये वो 19-20 का डिफरेंस होएगा, बट इट्स बेसिकली द सेम प्रोडक्ट. हियर I have the ability, when as a plot, to build किया ठीक है, today I just want to build 1500 square feet, later when my kids grow up, 3-4 साल में थोड़ा और पैसा आएगा, then I'll build up. So I have that flexibility. I can design exactly how I want. मेरा ड्रीम हाउस है तो मेरे को ये आई वांट दिस लाइब्रेरी चाहिए तो ये रूम बनाइए, या आई वांट अ जिम, व्हाटएवर इट इज, आई एम सेइंग. सो यू कैन, योर डिजाइन इज in your hand, so you can build the dream house that you always wanted. You're not, and your imagination can do it. You're not kind of restricted to the developer's choice or the developer's thing. So I think there's various things, whether it's from a cash flow perspective, whether it's from a tradability of the asset perspective, or whether it's from a end use perspective also. There's many advantages of buying land and a plot. And I feel that whether you buy a plot from us or you buy the plot from the next guy who may be 20 minutes down the road and maybe selling a little cheaper, all that is then the final consumer has to see what they value. Do you value our brand, or you value being 15 minutes closer, or you value some other thing where the other person. So that is within the product and the projects and within the consumers. But I think our main focus and in our ad campaign and is focused on our product, obviously. But I think more than our product, what we're trying to focus on is on the aspect of land. Boss, land is something that today is undervalued in my view. Even though people say Alibaug prices have gone up, if you compare Alibaug prices to prices in Vasai, or you compare it to anywhere in Island City or beyond even the Island City, it's nowhere comparable. And Alibaug now with the new bridge coming, with Atal Setu, already it's cut down the time. So I live in Worli, so to go to Alibaug or Karjat, so the fastest Google Maps will take you go on the coastal road, go all the way down, get
So
on
South Bombay, yeah.
through South Bombay,
South
get
Bombay.
on to
Freeway,
the
yeah.
freeway, then Setu, then get on. And I'm in Worli, it's literally like here. So it's still, that shows that with the development of these new, I mean, I think and I know this is your area of strength, so maybe I should ask you this, but I haven't seen a city, maybe in China you would have seen this, in Shanghai and stuff, over the last 5, 8, 10 years, the amount of infrastructure development in Mumbai has been unbelievable. And it has changed, I think it has changed the face of the city, and living in this city has become 100 times better than it was post this. And the speed of which they've done it, and now, with I hope the greening that they're doing to the other areas, and
Yes.
once that happens, the city is going to be world
World-class.
class, boss. And the amount, and so the coastal road, Setu, obviously the Worli Sewri connector, all these things have really changed the face of the city. So I think it's with the development happening in the city and with the growth of the city, so city has generally grown north, is what we've seen historically. We just keep going north, up, you keep going. But I think something like Alibaug, something like Karjat, something like even the eastern seaboard of South Bombay, these are the areas where we feel in the future there's still areas of growth. There's still a lot that can be done in these
Yes.
areas. And these areas, even from an investment point of view, I feel is underpriced, compared to other areas of Bombay. So as the infrastructure develops, and as so it's that boom. We may not be on the ground floor of the Alibaug boom, for example. Maybe एक या दो माला पहुंच गए, but अभी तक बहुत जाना है.
Scope is still there.
Building has to build still. So I think, and Karjat I feel is again an area where we maybe on the ground floor, maybe first floor. कि वो भी is going to develop crazy. So these are the two areas we feel with Eastern Bombay is the areas which will have the fastest growth going forward.
So we were talking about that region of Mumbai opening up. Railway lines, West and Central both. Somehow Mumbai never had that radial development. It always had that ribbon development across rail lines.
Yes.
But there was no planning to it. बस जहाँ पे connectivity government ने पहुँचाई वहाँ पे everything just came up.
Yes.
But Mumbai 3.2, do you think like whatever planning government is doing, policy, investments, how they are setting up the city will impact that region much more differently than what other regions of Mumbai have grown like?
I mean, absolutely. I think the kind of development that's been happening, the infrastructure development in Mumbai over the last 5 to 10 years has been transformational for the city, and I think it's been done with a lot of foresight. So it's not like you said कि एक road ठोक दो और then hope for the best, जो आएगा आएगा. I think it's been a very combined, consolidated planning कि यार इधर airport आना है तो how do we get people to the airport, तो इधर से ये road बनेंगे, इधर से ये road आएगा, this is the infrastructure development होएगा. We are building connectivity to Alibaug, how is it going to impact? We're building connectivity to Karjat. So I think these are the kind of things where it's a master planning हो रहा है. It just feels from the outside and we are executing from a master planning point of view rather than just individual plan कि यार ये road हो जाएगा फिर देखते हैं क्या होता है, right? So I think so this and what we've seen over the 5, 7, 8 years has really been transformational for the city, and I think a lot of you can see the thought. You can see the thought going into various aspects of the development, and I think Mumbai 3.0 and that whole development is going to be, it started the best that it could. I think all the building blocks are there now. It's just a matter of everyone and all corporates and everyone developing that area. The government can do to a certain extent, right? They can, and the planning
You can
go
stimulate maximum.
Yes, exactly. And then finally, the rest of the job has to be done by us as the private sector. So I think that we're all geared up to do, and I think that's a big area of growth coming up. And already today, if you see Karjat, we have a site in Karjat which we'll launch hopefully in the next couple of months. From our office or from here, they'll be even closer. From here, within 70 minutes, you will be at the site.
Oh,
Any time of the day, any day of the week.
that's closer than most places in Mumbai.
Exactly.
within Mumbai.
within Mumbai, and it's not an exaggeration. I like literally you get out of the thing here, and the other way to look at it, from the start of the Setu. Forget some log will take half an hour to get to Setu, some people take 1 hour to get to Setu from where they are. But if you see from the start of Setu, it's 45 minutes.
Okay.
It is literally like that. So it's like you get off Setu 25 minutes, 20 minutes, and you're there. And so that kind of connectivity to South Bombay, Central Bombay is already there. And then as the infrastructure and as the as the social infrastructure grows in all these areas, then the livability increases a lot. So I was just saying, and we're talking about Alibaug the other day with some of our friends. So even till 5-8 years ago, in Alibaug, if you wanted to go for a weekend or you wanted to go for, you had a house there or whatever, if you had to go there, your whole house, everyone had to go there, cook, work, everything, because there was nothing available over there.
Off grid almost.
Yeah, they were off grid. So पूरा घर वार सब लेने का. Now people go there to eat lunch. You go to a Burger and Booch, or there are literally places there that people from Mumbai will go there because अरे वो burgers are best in Bombay, बहुत उधर ही जाना है. तो for lunch, and it's that feasible. वो and earlier ठीक है क्या था कि यार मोटर स्पीड बोट लेना है तो यार 10,000 12,000 का है, कौन लेने वाला है, पागल हो गया क्या लंच के लिए, for example. Now $800, $700, you can sit in a speedboat, which is that taxi boat or shared service that they have. $700, I think, is the price where you're in Alibaug. So it's not even कि यार सिर्फ 12,000 का, big shot ही 12,000 कौन spend करें, $500, $600 एक जन जा सकते हैं, go there, come back. So the other thing is, for example, maybe from the last 1 year, Swiggy has started in Alibaug. So now for a company like Swiggy to also go there, it shows कि social infrastructure, they are seeing कि every day, वो नहीं जा रहे हैं कि यार Friday, Saturday को कोई 10 लोग बुलाएंगे अपने को तो we'll have our people there, right? It's a everyday stuff. So as social infrastructure is improving, वो अभी there's paddle club शुरू हो रहा है उधर, like Willingdon जैसे इधर आते हैं ना, like that over there it's starting, membership clubs. So there's so much more, restaurants hai, takeaway hai, Chinese hai, whatever you want, pizza hai. So the social infrastructure is growing, and as social infrastructure grows, then it makes these areas, one is कि इधर से उधर जाना is quick. मैं पहुंच जाऊंगा यार, but पहुंचने के बाद क्या करूंगा, what will I do, that's also as important as कि जल्दी में पहुंच जाओगे, right? So one is that it's becoming convenient. But convenience के साथ it's important कि livability also is there. So now in places like Alibaug, वो Karjat में McDonald's खुल गया, second McDonald's खुल गया. Now McDonald's means they're seeing crowd, they're seeing people, they're seeing that. So these areas are it then becomes a like a snowball effect, right? कि वो McDonald's आ गया तो वो दूसरा कोई restaurant में तो McDonald's आ गया, मैं भी आ सकता हूँ. Then
these are magnets, yeah.
Magnet. Then 2 रेस्टोरेंट आ गए हैं तो कोई जो खरीदने जाएगा प्लॉट या विला बोलेगा कि यार इधर से सब आ गए हैं तो ठीक है मैं प्लॉट खरीद लूंगा, तो देन वो एक और प्लॉट खरीदेगा, 200 लोग खरीदेंगे तो तीसरा रेस्टोरेंट आ जाएगा. तो इट बिकम्स अ snowball ki yaar one feeds into the other, and what we've seen in Alibaug and what we're seeing slowly in Karjat also now is that this is what's happening here. When Swiggy came to Alibaug, for me, I've been going to Alibaug since early 2000s, I would say 90s to early 2000s to Alibaug. When it was for me the biggest, for me somehow maybe, but for me it was the biggest indicator कि यार बहुत Alibaug has now become mainstream is कि यार बहुत साला Swiggy पहुंच गया है उधर. For me, I don't know. There was just a personal thing for me, but it felt like a very big step, showing कि there is a everyday crowd now there. There are enough people who are there all the time, or they're living there, where companies like these, organizations like these, are seeing enough of a market to go there. So I think that in a way, and it's a snowball effect, क्योंकि ये आएगा और तो फिर buyer आएंगे और buyer आएंगे तो और लोग बेचने को आएंगे. Self-feeding cycle, yeah. And I think we're in the middle of that cycle right now, so which is exciting.
Sir, but tell me one thing. This is like my curiosity, but how come a Mumbai buyer who was all into apartments suddenly उसको ज़मीन का शौक कैसे लग गया?
I think in COVID, when people were stuck in their homes, everyone had that one friend कि वो साला अलीबाग पहुंच गया, घर था या गोवा पहुंच गया, एकदम मौज मजा कर रहे हैं, आउटडोर स्विमिंग पूल का पिक्चर भेज रहा है अपने सब घर में, everyone is stuck. So I think at that point people really saw the value of having this flexibility, the value of I can be living in my very fancy 3,000-4,000 square foot apartment, but when you're in it for 6 months, suddenly that 3,000-4,000 also feels like you're in some sort of purgatory over there. Yeah. Kabhi niklenge was, so at that point, having that half an acre in Alibaug, which is half the cost of having a house or 1/5 of the cost of having a house, the perceived value seemed very high then. And I think that for me and what we've seen, the birth of the whole plotted segment has been post-COVID, where I think people started putting a lot more value to open space, to flexibility, to be having a second place that I can call home. All these things became very, very important to people. And I think that's what's really changed that's what changed the mindset from एक और apartment खरीदने to
let's buy land.
Let's buy land, yes.
Acha, company Peninsula is also like in a evolving phase now. We are getting into Peninsula 2.0. We are going to take a lot of things differently. Customer has evolved, minds have evolved. How is the company Peninsula evolving?
I think we are evolving. We'd like to think that we're evolving with the customer, and we're helping the customer evolve as we evolve. So, as in any journey, as in any industry, changes are constant. The latest boom and phase, the talking point is AI, right? So that's the point now. How is that going to change business models? How is that going to change how you do work? But I think from our point of view, there's certain things that we believe hold true, whether it was 20 years ago or hold true whether it is today. So things like no compromise on our design, things like density of our projects, things like our usability of our amenities. So these are all things that we believe have always been a strength of Peninsula and will always continue to be a strength of Peninsula. I think how what we have also changing, and how the consumer has changed, and what we need to change on is how do you deliver your message to the consumer, how do you show yourself to the consumer, and how do you disseminate. There's so much information today, there's so many there's so many channels, there's so many different mediums to get information. So what is the right medium to get the right information to the right people? So I think that it becomes very important, and that's a ever evolving and changing thing. So what you're selling, I don't think changes too much, or what we've been as Peninsula selling 20 years ago, or we're selling today. But how you sell it, how you communicate that, what the consumer values, those are the things that are evolving. And as Peninsula, I think that's something that we are very focused on, is being able to harness the consumer voice into our products, and being able to deliver, because real estate is like a very unique business. Everyone says their business is unique, but I really feel there's no other buy that you can think of that you do which you'll do once, twice, or maybe 3 times in your life.
Single biggest ticket purchase for most people.
Single biggest ticket purchase. And even if it's a car, you'll buy maybe 3, 4, 5 cars in your life, right? Yeah. You won't, holidays do you buy every 6 months, so whatever it is, it's clothes, whatever. I think, so homes are it's such a long-term buy, that it makes it a very unique relationship between customer and
responsibility
seller.
As well.
The responsibility, the feel, the need, that not the pressure is not the right word, but that to deliver what is someone going to live for the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years maybe, what we are thinking of today. So you have to be able to understand what the customer wants, and maybe sometimes, like you said, not educate is not the right word, but maybe show the customer that there are certain things that maybe they don't realize now, but yes, this is why this is going to help you, or this is why this is important, or till 10 years ago, density was something that Mumbai customers did not understand or talk about as much as today. And that was one of our things, that all our projects against our competitors, we were less dense. And we were always shouting, and we were like, and people, only when you live there, for that first time and you see it for yourself, then for next time you realize okay, density is important, yeah, or people around see. But at that time, people were still not. So I think these are the things that bring long-term value. So I think one of the things that as Peninsula we're always very proud of is that our resale values in most of our projects are higher than the micro market, because people value what we've built.
Yeah, in long term people realize that.
Long-term, there's a long-term value to certain things, and so for developers and for us, I think we take that that onto ourselves, that responsibility to ensure that we can build something which is last the test of time and is giving the consumers and our buyers long-term value. So I think that's something that is our focus. So those are things that don't change, but I think there are certain things, like I said, of how we communicate the message, what is the message that you want to communicate. Those are things that keep evolving and changing. And
we're talking about this density, customer mindset, and Mumbai. So people say there are like multiple layers in Rome.
Yes.
Civilization built over civilization, built over civilization. So Mumbai is also going in a similar phase, where we are having redevelopment. We have policies like cluster redevelopment coming up. I just want to know from you, as someone who is in the industry, how do you think it will impact Mumbai city? And how will the market evolve?
So I think that's again, I would have had a different answer maybe a year or two ago than today. I think redevelopment is a very obvious area of growth, and that's what we've seen, because I think like where land is so limited and new land, virgin land is almost impossible to get. The only way that the city can upgrade itself is through redevelopment, and you see this worldwide again. You still go through New York City and you think idhar to kuch kya, everything is new, but you still see buildings being put down,
80 floor buildings getting redeveloped.
Redeveloped, getting up, and because that's the constant. One is सब developer है तो कुछ काम तो करना पड़ेगा यार, क्या करेंगे नहीं तो. But also it's that constant need also for space, right? Like in these central areas where you South Bombay में रहना है तो South Bombay में ही रहना है यार, वर्सोवा नहीं जाऊँगा, right? So I think it's important that so as the demand also grows, that the city also is being able to deal with this demand. So I think that from a redevelopment point of view, but I think over the last couple of years with the introduction of like the biggest names in Indian businesses, whether it's Reliance or whether it's Adani coming into Bombay real estate now in a big way, I think with with all the size of the cluster developments that they've been talking about and doing, I think it'll only be good. Maybe not for small developers, but I think for the city it'll definitely be a good thing. It'll get a lot of high quality supply into the city, and I still feel today that there is a lack of supply in the city.
Right.
Quality supply in the city.
That's the right word, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Quality supply. Yeah. So like I said, so maybe small developers will feel a pinch, and even players like us have to now judge what is our business plan going forward and what is our niche. There's enough for everyone. It's not that only big players will be. There's enough small buildings. So for redevelopment, we are also in redevelopment, and our thesis in redevelopment is 2-3 things. One is that we only look at the western seaboard right now for redevelopment. So from Nariman Point to Versova today, anything in that belt we are looking at. Two is, but we're only looking at buildings with less than 75 tenants. So we want to do small buildings and not get in, because our strength is in design, our strength is in execution, our strength. So that's what we want to focus on. So the bigger buildings, it's more becomes management of people. It becomes a lot of different aspects. 300 log hain to get everyone to agree and all. Like it becomes almost it's a different skill set. So we feel that smaller buildings, prime areas, we have to sell for more than 60,000-70,000 bucks a square foot minimum. And so that's the kind of niche that we are seeing. So we're not looking at these huge developments, and so there is space, I feel, for the niche players who look at the smaller developments, and obviously the behemoths of the industry who then will do, because Bombay needs, like you can't throw a stone in the city without finding some area that can get redeveloped or some area which is so I think that with these bigger areas getting redeveloped and that all that quality supply coming in, it will I think it will just showcase the city better. And as the city gets showcased better, then everyone gets a boost, right? So instead of Dharavi, you have buildings and you have a green area and you have a park and you have these things. It's not
Entire
just
city lifts.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just that area that gets lifted, right? The whole city lifts, and I think so. I feel like it's a very interesting time. We are a small player to that extent. So for small players like us, there's enough stuff that we are interested in and happy to do. And then for the big players, there's enough stuff for them to do and that they are interested in and they're also happy to do. And overall, then the city, no one knows, right? 20 million, 22 million, how many people are in this, live in this city, and that's how many people who need homes and who will have families and who kids will grow up and and all that. So I think there's a huge I mean, this is maybe not for the podcast, but like I was in New York for the summer with my family. There's not 1 square foot of that city which is not developed, means to the maximum. And that's a 8, 10, 12 million people live there,
yeah.
population. We are 23, 24 million, whatever, who no one knows, but in the range, more than 20 million
Yes.
for sure, right? In that, so people today, there's a lot, and it's not just 20 million, and every year lakhs of people are coming into the city, new people every year. So, and as people grow and as they get jobs and they and they want to move and upgrade, that there's always a new set of people who are coming right into the city to build their dream. So that as the kind of, if I've come in here today on the pyramid, I want to move up the pyramid, right? But as I move up the pyramid, there's enough people coming in to fill in that where I was. So I just feel that city is going to develop insanely. It's already unrecognizable from 15 years ago.
You see that images comparing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that, but you drive in from the Setu to Bombay. When you're driving the Setu, you see it looks like wow, like this is like, you really get a feeling of what Mumbai is today, and you see that skyline over there, and it's only it's only getting more and more. So I think that with what we spoke about earlier, with the very targeted and thought through infrastructure development, with the enough developers with enough money in the city to do a great job, and with the demand there, I don't see how, even in a slowdown, how this market is. Some markets are recession proof. So worldwide, you go Hong Kong or London, New York. They used to say Dubai, but now we've learned otherwise for Dubai. But these 3-4 cities, there's always someone in the world who has money who wants to spend it in these cities, right? So there was Chinese people went there, then Arabs, then Indians, then Russians, then there's always some segment of people who are
doing good,
doing great and want to put money into it. So these cities, whatever is happening in the rest of that country and whatever is happening in the rest of the world, these cities' real estate prices are just generally always on one way, it's upway. I think Mumbai may not be that worldwide, but for India, I think that definitely is that. Anyone who has money in India, anyone who's made money in India, the first port of call is Mumbai to invest also. Forget to live, I'm saying to invest, because again, maybe Delhi is the only other place, but then Delhi has its own things in people's minds about Delhi mein kya hoega, ye, wo, and the other. I think Mumbai has a more cleaner corporate kind of view, rightly or wrongly, but that's what the view is from a consumer point of view. So I think the consumers, and today there's money being made all over the country. It's not only in Mumbai, not only in the big cities, right? Tier 2, Tier 3 cities people are making, there's a lot of money being made in all these cities. So if I have more than 1 or 2 crores to invest, there's only 2 places in real estate. There's only 2 places in this country that I can really invest. Even Bengaluru and all, over
It's an
3-4
end-user
crores.
market, yeah.
And over 3-4 crores is very few developments
Good
that you will
projects,
get, right? So if you have 10 crores to invest, there's only Mumbai and Delhi. So then these real estate markets are also attracting a lot of capital from around India. Because as people make money and you want to invest in certain things, you have to come to Mumbai in that sense, because that ticket size you're not going to find anywhere else, right? You don't want to buy 10 apartments somewhere and hope it's just one apartment kharidenge, wo manage karenge, whatever. So I think that there's a lot of investor money coming in from all over India.
Okay, Piramal ji, suppose I am going to Mumbai 3.0, trying to buy a land for myself. According to you, how my entire journey should be?
Sure. So first, you should be clear on terms of what your ticket size is. I think that becomes number one for a lot of land buyers, or a lot of buyers generally are very confused, and then you see too many options. So I think one is you should be clear on that. I think two is when you're buying land, I think Karjat or Alibaug is a great option for you. Generally what we've seen is people go online first and they'll search on Google, land options in Alibaug or land options in Karjat, and there'll be a list of 7-8. I think you see those 7-8, you go through the thing. But I think it's very important, I think, what differentiates us at Peninsula Estates to some of the other plotted developers is that we encourage people to come to site. So we have a big site office at location on site. We will facilitate your travel there. We'll take you there. We'll take you to the site. So I think that becomes very important. That I would suggest that buying land unseen is not the best option. I think it's important to come to site. It's important to visit the site and actually see physically what you're getting and what you're kind of where you're getting it. The other thing I think that becomes sometimes hidden is, are there any electrical wires running through the site? That happens a lot. High tension wires. You want to make sure what my terrain is. So is it flat? Is it very sloped? Because I think all these things become very important for both if you're trying to trade the land later or if you're trying to build on it. So that becomes very important. And third, I think obviously see the track record of the developer that you are buying with, what they've done, and what is the kind of history that they have or the legacy that they have, and that then builds the trust factor, because I can understand buying land. One is buying an apartment 20 minutes from where you live today or half an hour, and you can go there and you see the building is coming up, it's very clear. The others, maybe an hour away, like we said, a 90-minute rule is what we have. So, within the 90-minute circuit, who's going to go out, how often, is it happening, not happening, where that. So I think it becomes very important that trust, especially in plotted, is a very important factor that we've seen. So I think these are the 3-4 things that I would suggest to customers to look at before taking a decision.
And finally, where do you see Peninsula as a company heading to in the next 10 years or maybe 15 years?
Right. So I think no one knows. I think 10-15 years becomes a long time to forecast. But I think from our point of view, both Rajiv and me, who's my brother and the MD of the company, we both, I think, see Peninsula 2.0 as we've called it now internally. This is the new birth for us. We had a whole host of projects that we'd done earlier. We had certain issues. We've come out of those issues, and like a butterfly coming out of the cocoon, I think we're ready to fly in 2.0. In Peninsula 2.0, we're focusing on 2 or 3 very, we're not doing 100 different things. We're focusing on 2 or 3 things we truly believe in. So one is on the plotted and doing these curated and kind of semi-developed plotted developments where we're doing a lot of the stuff. But we're also offering people an ability. So in the next 2 years, we are, going to sell maybe 600, 700, 800 plots. We've sold 300, 400 plots over the last 3-4 years. So that's like 1,000 plots that we've sold where people will develop it. So we are also going to offer a service to people that we will do the planning, we will do the permissions, and we will develop these villas for you as well. So it's not just the piece of land that we're selling, but we will also develop the villa for you. So I think Peninsula, as focusing on this, I think buying and it's not second home. We truly believe that these areas are going to be co-primary homes in the future. Worldwide again, and I see I always go back to worldwide, and I generally go worldwide to more developed countries to see, because India, if you see in various things, has followed a pattern. Maybe we're 10 years later, maybe we're 15 years later than some of the developed countries, but we've always followed the patterns of the developed countries. And I think one of the big things I see in developed countries is co-primary homes. So people who live in the city, they work in the city, but they also want a home not 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours away, but maybe an hour or 90 minutes away from their city home, where they can go. So they don't, in the summertime, they go there on a Thursday and they come back to the city maybe on a Monday morning through the year. So it's a house that is as much of your house as the main house or your city house becomes. So I think this this is something from a consumer behavior pattern that we've seen, and that's something that we feel that Peninsula will be one of the companies who have been driving this going forward over the next 5 to 8 years in terms of co-primary living and co-primary homes, and identifying these locations where, so for co-primary home you need 2-3 things. One is connectivity, so I need to be able to get to my job or get to my school or get to my place of work within 90 minutes to, it can't be 3 hours, because then on a daily basis it doesn't possible. For people in Mumbai, 90 minutes we've seen is, anyway people are doing that, if not a little more. So 90 minutes becomes very important. Second is it has to be livable. So there has to be social infrastructure around, there has to be a hospital, there has to be restaurants, there has to be some clubs, there has to be, things to do, supermarkets, all those things. So these are the things that we are looking at, areas which are not just connected, close, but also where the social infrastructure is growing. So that's as important as connectivity. I can give you, send you 90 minutes away somewhere in the middle of a jungle where there's nothing around you. That's not co-living, right? Yeah. So we have to go to areas. So we are looking at areas which are going to have these social infrastructure developments coming up. And 3 is, I feel that as an investment class or as an investment asset as well, land becomes a very important part of your portfolio. So you have, like I said, you have shares, you will have mutual funds, you will have maybe crypto. Some people will have different apartments where they rent out, but land is generally an area where people especially in Mumbai, have stayed away from. So that becomes one more thing to put into your portfolio of assets and your asset class. And so I think this is what Peninsula will be spearheading, I feel, in the next 5-7 years, is this democratization of land, or commercialization of where land is now not available to those few select industrialists or few select actors or movie stars who have the ability to buy that big villa and say 5 acres in Alibaug or 3 acres in Alibaug. It opens up Alibaug and the promise and the beauty of Alibaug to a much larger segment of people. And so that's from a land perspective. And in Mumbai, which is our home and which is our core area, we are focused on small redevelopment projects. So we don't want to do greenfield far away. We are focused more on redevelopment projects within Mumbai, but projects which have less than 50 to 75 tenants in them, because we feel our strength is on design, development, selling. So the smaller the developments, it's easier to get agreement with people, and I think that's an area where we feel, again, in Mumbai is an area of growth. Everyone needs to upgrade, and there's all the old buildings are all now coming up and are all interested in doing that. So I think that gives us there's enough of a pie for us to target there. And I think in the next 5 to 7 years, we're very focused on democratizing land for the corporate class in Mumbai, especially Mumbai's Pune, and redevelopment, some specific smaller buildings in South and Western Mumbai, I would say. So I think that's what I would say is the way.
On that note, sir, thank you so much for being on the Indian Infra Show, and thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here, and look forward to all your future podcasts as well.